It's easy to see how change can be beneficial to modern organizations with all of these different forces driving it. Yet, change isn't always welcome. Some people don't like any kind of change, while other people enjoy change. When people react negatively to a change, there are several things that can happen. If their resistance isn't addressed, their negative reactions can derail the change process and have a negative effect on their job attitudes and behaviors, as well as their colleagues' attitudes and behaviors. However, resistance to change can be positive if it leads to open discussion and debate. It's for this very reason that we shouldn't avoid people who resist change. They likely have ideas and concerns that are worth exploring. This is especially true if the resistors have a great deal of power in the organization. We need to get them on board with the change. The sources of resistance can be divided into two categories: those that come from within the individual and those that come from within the organization. Let's learn more about these two different sources of resistance. Here are 5 individual sources. First is habits. To reduce cognitive processing, we rely on habits or programmed responses. Change requires us to break these habits, something we all know is easier said than done. Second is security. People with a high need for security are more likely to resist change than people with a low need for security. This is partly because change can threaten people's feelings of safety and security. For example, if the new standards in an industry seem overly optimistic, some people will question the change for fear that they can't reach the new standards. Third is the fear of the unknown. You've heard it before. People fear what they don't understand. Change is usually accompanied by ambiguity and uncertainty, which is why change agents have such an important role. They are responsible for helping people understand the unknown. Fourth is selective information processing. We learned about the confirmation bias earlier in the course. Changes can amplify our tendency to pay attention to information that confirms our perspective and ignore information that doesn't. We hear what we want to hear, and we ignore information that conflicts with what we already know. This is especially true when situational cues are weak and ambiguous. There are also 5 major sources of organizational resistance. First is structural inertia. Organizations have built-in mechanisms, such as their selection and training processes, that maintain stability in the organization. When confronted with change, this structural inertia acts as a counterbalance. Groups also may act as a constraint. Their norms and goals may not align with the new change. Second is limited focus of change. Organizations are made up of a number of interdependent subsystems. Changing one will affect the others. Third is the threat to expertise. Changes in organizational patterns may threaten the expertise of specialized groups. They may no longer be the most specialized in the organization if this change is implemented. Fourth is the threat to established power relationships. A redistribution of decision-making power can threaten tenured, powerful individuals. Managers who have spent a long time with the organization or those who have achieved a senior position are often major resistors to change. For them, personally, change can be a very real threat to their status and position.